So, I just got done reading Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. I feel extremely stimulated by this book, and it really got me thinking about two things: patience and solitude. Those two words come out more than any other throughout the entire book, and together I think they make up his personal essential philosophy on life. So, this won't exactly be a book review or even a video essay. This is just more like a meditation and expression of sorts. And full disclosure, I've recorded this video multiple times already, just like this, just free flowing my thoughts, and it just does not come out good. I can't articulate it as well as I would want to, so I'm just gonna read this straight from my notes, and hopefully there's still connection between us, even though I'm not looking into camera. Here we go. So real quick, for those of you who don't know, Letters to a Young Poet is a collection of 10 letters the poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote to a fan of his named Franz Capus. Capus was an aspiring poet who wrote to him, pouring his heart out and asking him for advice on his own poetry. From there they began a friendship through letter writing. And I want to make it clear that I'm not a poetry reader. I, for some reason, just don't possess that sort of mind that can connect to it. And I'm ashamed to admit that, but it is what it is. I've tried many times. So if you guys have any recommendations on poets for me to check out, please let me know, because I'm still open to it, it's just one of those things where I haven't found that poet for me, or I just need to accept that I can't connect to that sort of writing. That being said, a close friend of mine, when she gifted me this book, I was a little surprised because everyone in my life knows that I'm not into poetry. And, based on the title, I thought this was going to be a book about poetry. And after reading it, I could see why she did so, because this book is not about poetry. But really, through these letters, Rilke is expressing his philosophy on life and, of course, on art. In many ways, I feel that Rilke is a kindred spirit to me. I related to him in many ways as well as disagreed with him on many fronts. So I highly recommend this book to anyone who is an aspiring artist or just simply is a curious and open-minded person willing to entertain the philosophies of this 28-year-old poet in the early 20th century. Let's start with solitude. Throughout these letters, Rilke is constantly saying that we are inherently alone, and that the solution to everything is solitude. After he gives any sort of advice or simply just speaks on his own experiences, he will follow that up by connecting it to being in solitude, being alone with one's thoughts. He encourages deep thought and reflection, to go into oneself to find answers. In many ways, that's what therapy is. You just have someone there guiding you or asking you the right questions to help you confront things. That is what Rilke is essentially doing here, encouraging you to regulate, understand yourself, and come to your own conclusions. He never gives advice on technical prose or structure of poetry, but he recommends authors to read to inspire Capus and stimulate his perspective on life. I do agree with this. There is certainly wisdom to be found here, especially in this day and age where so many people feel the need to share everything, to constantly be around others, subconsciously receiving external feedback on how to behave and on how to think. This sort of living doesn't encourage deep thought or individualism, and only through deep thought and contemplation can we become our true selves. But as always, the key to true wisdom is balance. I think there's a serious lack of caution here to the dangers of isolation. As a severe introvert, I even read this and felt a bit uneasy at the amount of encouragement to be in solitude and to not care for the opinions of others. That can lead to ignorance, and also, as we all know, it's just unhealthy for your mind. We are social creatures and we can learn a lot from other people, and it is necessary to know how to orient ourselves in the world. But perhaps that's the trade-off of becoming a true artist. Of course, this doesn't apply to everyone, but perhaps to specific sorts of people, they need this sort of isolation to be in touch with themselves. But if that is the case, to be fair, one of the reasons Rilke encourages you to be in solitude is because that is a difficult thing to do, and doing difficult things is good for us. And on that front, I totally agree. So if isolation comes easy to you, then perhaps do the opposite and try to find a balance between the two. But I can't help but think that perhaps Rilke was a severe introvert like myself and finds comfort in being alone and being in solitude. And this is a form of self-deception to not go outside his comfort zone. But, that's just me reaching and making an assumption. While with solitude explored, now we arrive at its counterpart, patience. This, I think, is essential to wisdom. Rilke speaks of being patient with ourselves and our self-growth. His approach to life surrounds the concept of trust the process, so to speak. To go inward, scrutinize your thoughts and feelings, and in time, a new sense of clarity will emerge. Same goes with pain. Now, as an extremely neurotic person, I must admit that when he speaks of such things, it bothers me a bit. But I understand this is because this is a weakness of mine that I still need to work on. He has a very optimistic and accepting way of looking at pain and heartache. He encourages you to be very conscious of your pain, which I do agree with. I don't think we should suppress it or numb it. He looks at it as new. Pain that truly alters us, it's because it's new to us, and we should accept this and be patient with ourselves to adjust to it and not to shield ourselves from it. I'm currently going through a form of heartache right now, so when I read these things, I feel a bit angry and impatient, frankly. But when reading the following passage, I felt a sense of calm and assurance. This comes from letter 8. So you must not be afraid, dear Mr. Kappas. If a sadness rises up before you, larger than any you have ever seen, if a restiveness, like light and clouded shadows, passes over your hands and over all you do, you must think that something is happening with you, that life has not forgotten you, that it holds you in its hand. It will not let you fall. Why do you want to shut out of your life any agitation, any pain, any melancholy, since you really do not know what these states are working upon you? Why do you want to persecute yourself with the question whence all this may be coming and whither it is bound? Since you know that you are in the midst of transitions and wish for nothing so much as to change. If there is anything morbid in your processes, just remember that sickness is the means by which an organism frees itself of foreign matter. So one must just help it to be sick, to have its whole sickness and break out of it, for that is its process. In you, dear Mr. Kappas, so much is now happening. You must be patient as a sick man and confident as a convalescent, for perhaps you are both, and more, you are the doctor too, who has to watch over himself. But there are, in every illness, many days when the doctor can do nothing but wait. And this it is that you, insofar as you are your own doctor, must now above all do. Man, that is so beautifully and intelligently put. And I will be coming back to that in my many dark days that I'm sure will come. Well, there you go. The only way to have meaningful self-growth is to go inward, reflect by means of solitude, and to have the patience to not veer off that course and to let that process take effect. To wrap up, I just wanted to say that after reading the book twice in a row and getting the insight of the chronicle in the end, perhaps he subconsciously used these letters as a form of reminding himself, since he himself was a young man and still growing and evolving. Nevertheless, this was a great read, and my curiosity is certainly piqued on this man and to know more of his writings. So let me know if you've read anything from Rilke and your experiences with that, and let me know your thoughts on my expressions. Hey, so one last thing I wanted to say. So I always find it a bit awkward to promote my channel, which I know I should be doing, but I just wanted to say that if you like content like this, where it's more serious, philosophical, intellectual sort of talk, check out my That's Life playlist. Admittedly, I do videos like this much more rarely because I try to keep it real. I don't want to be pretentious and try to talk about things that, I don't have any business talking about. So I only talk about things when I feel compelled to, when it's something that's truly on my mind and I want to explore it. And then I use the videos as a form of a journal almost to express it. So yeah, primarily I do movie reviews and geek stuff, but if you like stuff like this, check out that playlist. Thanks for watching.